Hey YouTube, welcome back to Dwayne's World. So does your lawn not look quite the way you want to during this time of year? Well, I got some issues in my lawn too. You want to find out what's going on? You better stay tuned. All right, so welcome back to season 2, episode 20, here on Dwayne's World. So what are we doing today? Well, not going to be a really entirely complex episode here on Dwayne's World. However, you know, my lawn right now, I would say, doesn't look as good as I thought it should based on some of the things I've done up to this point. Now, in my last video, I threw down my plant growth regulator, and I will say that it absolutely has stopped and got my lawn under regulation, and it hasn't been growing at the level it was a couple weeks ago. However, I will also say though, the temperatures in my area have dropped about 5 to 7 degrees. Now just because of that, naturally the Bermuda growth would have slowed down because we're not quite as hot as we once were a couple weeks ago. But even with that being said, you know, I threw down the Turfplex, I threw down the Nutrizolve, you know, I used the Anderson's 24011 a few weeks back. And when I think about all those things that I've done, I thought, you know what, the lawn should be looking a lot better than it currently does. So why doesn't it look as good? And let me give you guys a shot here of my lawn so you guys can see some of the problems that I'm facing. All right, so if you look at my lawn here, overall the color isn't too bad. However, what you will notice is there is some yellowing. And I got some discoloration in the lawn, and let me kind of just zoom down here to the turf. As you guys can see here, there's a little bit of yellowing going on, you know, kind of an area here that's struggling a little bit. So just kind of throughout, it gives this haze on the lawn of a slight yellowing. And also there's some inconsistencies in the green. So why is that? And what's going on with that? Well, one of the things that happens during the month of May is because of the temperature fluctuation going from where we're really kind of transitioning from springtime into summer, you know, we really start to see that higher level of temperatures go up. And what does our lawn do when that happens? It starts to stress. And when it stresses though, you get seed heads. And seed heads are perfectly natural in Bermuda. Generally the month of May, although you can have a great looking lawn in the month of May, isn't one of the best months for Bermuda. And that's simply because of the seed heads. Now, one of the things that sometimes people do, and I was probably just a little bit late in doing this, was you can throw down that plant growth regulator, which will help be able to suppress some of that seed head germination. So one of the things I want to do, I want to apologize about the audio in this particular video at certain times. My mic is not really functioning the way it should today. So unfortunately, I'm having to use an alternative mic, and it's not really working the way I would really like it to. So again, I apologize. Please bear with me until my next video where I'll get that mic situation all squared away. Now, although I don't believe it's the sole reason, a part of the reason why I could be seeing a dulling of the color in my lawn is because of the plant growth regulator that I put down about 10 days ago. With that being said, it doesn't necessarily mean it's permanent and it won't come back. It'll come back better than it was before. This is something that's perfectly normal anytime you're using plant growth regulator. Now, one of the things that I'm going to probably start doing is lowering the rate and just applying the plant growth regulator on a more regular schedule. Now, one of the things I think I'm going to do that was actually suggested by Ron Henry is to cut my rate in half and then apply my plant growth regulator every 2 weeks versus maybe only doing one treatment a month. I think this is going to help. It's going to keep my lawn under regulation, and it'll probably minimize any color loss that comes from using plant growth regulator. One thing I do want to show you guys is there's a part of my lawn that is struggling. Let me go ahead and show you guys what I'm talking about. I just want to kind of point out this one area right here. If you look, there is some discoloring. Now you may think, oh, maybe fungus damage, maybe insect damage, right? And that's what I thought. However, I think I figured out exactly what was going on here. If you want to find out what that is, you better stick around to the end of the video. All right, so with that, let me go ahead and show you guys what mower I'll be using today to lay down some stripe action. All right, so this will be using today to go ahead and take care of the mow action. This is a 20-inch 7-blade California trimmer adapted with the Honda GX120 motor and a California trimmer groove roller. Now, I will be actually catching my clippings today, and I'm going to be using the rear roller's grass topper. Now, I'm not going to lie, the rear roller's grasshopper has been a controversial topic for me here on Dwayne's World. I absolutely like the way it performs. However, a lot of people are dissatisfied with it just because of the amount of clippings that are falling on top of the grasshopper. However, I still feel like it does much better with it than without it. So I absolutely love this product. Now, if you are interested in picking one up, you can head over to realrollers.com. Lee and the guys over there will definitely take care of you. I will say that on my McLean, it performs better than it does on the California trimmer. And that's mainly for one of the reasons I pointed out is one of the differences between the California trimmer and the McLean is the grass shield that you can see there. On the California trimmer, the grass shield is fairly shallow. There's no adjustment to it. And this is where a lot of the grass, I think, is actually lifting onto the top of the actual grass topper versus into the chute, which McLean does a much better job with. Now, even though the grass shield, I would say, is better on the McLean than California trimmer, I absolutely love the California trimmer. It performs extremely well. I have done a couple of comparison videos. You guys can take a look at them here on my channel. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And give me a like as always, because it definitely helps my channel and be able to reach more viewers. And I really appreciate all the support. And with that, let's get on to the mow. One of the things I love most about the grass topper is it really helps you empty the bag. Makes it a lot easier to be able to empty out your clippings versus without the topper, things would generally be falling all over the place. So I just wanted to jump in here in the middle of the mow and point out something that I didn't mention earlier in the video. You know, all those seed heads will cause that yellowing on your lawn. There's also another thing you need to check if you are seeing that yellowing and you do not believe it's coming from seed heads. And that has to do with the sharpness of your mower. If your reel mower isn't set properly where your reel to bed knife tolerance is correct, and or if your blades aren't sharp, it's going to cause the reel mower to actually tear the blade versus cutting it. This is going to leave a yellow haze on your lawn. So it is one of the things you absolutely want to check if you are seeing that, is double check to make sure your mower is cutting sharp. Now, one of the things I did do today is I did check the reel to bed knife clearance on the California trimmer. So let me go ahead and show you that video. All right, so I apologize. The first time I recorded this, the mic wasn't working properly, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it again. I just wanted to show you guys the reel, the bed knife clearance, currently how I have it set up on the California trimmer, and show you guys how well it's cutting paper all the way across the reel. So I'm gonna start here on the right side. That's a good cut there. Gonna go a little bit more towards the middle. Good cut there. A little bit more to the left here. Good cut there. And last cut. Good cut there. So that's so important that the reel to bed knife clearance is set properly, so that way you get the best possible quality of cut. All right, so I do have a video on my channel that actually talks about how to adjust your reel to bed knife on the California trimmer. Take a look at that video if you need more help, and or look at my backlapping video, because both those videos are going to show you how to adjust the California trimmer. And with that, let's get back to the mow. right, not too bad, not too bad. You know, one thing I'll say though, is you got to be mindful of how full your grass catcher gets, because as you continue to fill it up, you can start to lower the height of cut because of the extra weight that's on the front of the mower. So I started noticing I was scalping a little bit, and that was when my grass catcher was full. So just something to keep in mind if you are catching your clippings. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the lawn. And not too bad, not too bad. Let me turn the camera around, give you guys a better view. All right, so California trimmer putting in the work. Oh yeah, stripe action absolutely looking on point. And this is not even with a ton of sun out here today. You could also still see some residual stripe action from my last mow when I went in this direction, forming a pretty nice diamond pattern, which I absolutely love. You know, this direction here and this direction here is generally the two directions that I like to mow my lawn. You know, every now and then I will change it up and actually go across the lawn here just to kind of even out the grain. But generally, these two directions work really, really well for me whenever I am mowing the lawn. Definitely cannot say enough about how well the California trimmer performs. Now, this is where I also say that a lot of times when your lawn is not really looking its best, give it a mow, give it a haircut. It is absolutely going to turn around the way your lawn looks. Now, even though the color probably isn't as green as I would like, the lawn's absolutely looking much better than when I first showed you guys. All right, so what I want to do now is I'm going to feed my lawn. Now, it's a little bit early, so with that being said, I'm really going to kind of go with the lower rate of PGF Complete, which is the 3 pounds per thousand, which I generally use, what will get you about a half a pound of nitrogen. Now, I recently applied the 24011 along with my liquid fertilizer all within the last month, but I like to do a spoon feeding technique, which basically means that you feed the lawn a little bit of nitrogen every couple of weeks, and that will keep the lawn looking good. Now, it'll probably take about 3 to 5 days to start to see some of the effects of the PGF Complete, and probably between 7 and 2 weeks before you get the full effect. And this is where I want to continue to maintain it, continue to feed it. And again, that's where I generally like the 3 pounds per thousand, which gets you about a half a pound of nitrogen each time you throw it down. So with that, let's go ahead and throw down some PGF Complete. All right, so I went ahead and loaded up the hopper here with the PGF Complete. Again, the thing I absolutely love about PGF Complete is the fact that it has a greens grade prill size. You guys can see there, it's very, very small. Also, it does have a water dispersible granular, so meaning once it gets wet, it really helps break down into the soil. Now, it does have 12% humic acid, which I absolutely love, and those are those little black pearls that you can see there. And with that, let's go ahead and throw it down. All right, so PGF Complete down. Now, all we got to do is water it in. And speaking of watering it in, let me show you guys that area I showed you at the front of the video and show you guys what I discovered when running my irrigation. Okay, so as you guys can see here, where you see this little hole, this is where I have a sprinkler. And what was happening was as that sprinkler head was popping up, the nozzle on the Rainbird rotary nozzle had actually gotten stuck and it wasn't watering this part of the lawn. Now, that particular rotary nozzle I cannot find anymore, so I went ahead and replaced it. And let me show you guys what I used and it's replaced. Right, so this is the rotary nozzle I went ahead and replaced it with. This is just a half spray, as the other one was an adjustable from 45 to 270 degrees, as where this one is just going to spin to 180 degrees. So generally what was happening was it was not reaching that part of the lawn. Now, when coming over to this sprinkler head, I had the same problem with that same rotary nozzle where it really wasn't spraying where it should have been. So I went ahead and replaced that one as well. And now this area here should be getting plenty of water to be able to help recover that part of the lawn. Now, again, I initially thought it was because of a fungus or a disease, but this is where, again, you always want to make sure you check your sprinklers, as I definitely had not. Now, in this particular case, I hope you guys learned from my mistake. It is important that you periodically check your irrigation system to ensure each of your sprinkler heads are working as they're supposed to. Sounds like a very simple thing. In this particular case, I missed it and went ahead and treated it for what I thought was fungus, when more than likely, it just wasn't getting the water that it really needed to be able to thrive in these hot temperatures. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know we had a lot going on here. Talked about my irrigation system. We talked about some stripe action, fed the lawn with PGF Complete, checked the reel to bed knife clearance on the California trimmer, the grass topper. This video pretty much had a little bit of everything in it. But that's what I absolutely love about lawn care. It's more than just one thing. And as always, be excellent and party on.